So that was a very difficult lie, and my club got a lot more stuck in the grass than I thought it was going to. I'm still on the green, but I don't know if it would be better to be chipping right now because it is really long ways. Let's just try to get the speed good here and get it within distance that I can make the next putt. Not bad, I'll take that. Just for fun, let's see how this goes. I know I hit a fade now, but still it's just so hard to aim left, especially when there's like a OB left and you hear the cars. And I mean, at the end of the day, there's nothing on the right side. It's really like clear. So, and most of them have slopes on the right side, which is gonna bounce your ball back into the fairway if you do miss it. So I mean, instead of trying to like swing it left and then end up double crossing what was supposed to be a fade shot, I'm just trying to choose a good aim, make sure my aim is good, and then try and do something from there and right now, and then slowly just adjust my swing back, because there's really no point trying to go against a shot, especially when it's still, you know, it's still in the fairway. It's not like it's a bad shot. I just got to learn to trust it a little bit more and play for the fade when it's gonna fade, and unless I'm gonna purposely hit a draw, aim for the right thing. There's a tee box on the fairway and my ball didn't pass it. Oops. Honestly, I don't remember what's up there, but I think there's nothing and I can hit a driver. So as long as I get it past that bunker, I should be good. Gotten this question of like, when should you decide to hit a driver? Honestly, I don't think there really is a shot that you have to hit a driver off the deck unless you just like to do it. But for me, I mean, I'm pretty comfortable with it. I think I can get pretty good contact, and I know that it's gonna be a fade shot, like just a little fade. So I know that hitting that's the ball shape that's gonna be, and as long as I could carry that bunker in front, there really was nothing for me to worry about, and it wasn't that far of a carry for that bunker. So I know that even if I don't hit like a really good shot, chances I'm still gonna be fine. So I think that's what you need to consider. Like if you miss it, which it's not easy to hit driver off deck, like what position are you gonna be in, or what's gonna happen? If you're gonna get into a hazard or an OB, then obviously reconsider it, because like I said, there's no real shot where you need to hit a driver. And honestly, if I hit my 3-wood really good, it's probably gonna go the same distance. So yeah. Oh, and I forgot to say one other time where it might be advisable to hit a driver, or not advisable, but it would be better to hit a driver, would probably be when it's windy, especially when it's into the wind, because that driver is not going to go up that high. So definitely that's one of the instances where you have not much, when you can miss a little bit left and right, you have some space, and when it's windy, that's when you would probably be better off hitting a driver. Nothing much on this hole. You probably just want to keep it left of those bunkers. It is uphill, pretty long. So like what I talked about just now with hitting fades and not being able to trust the left aim, this is a much better hole for me to practice something like aiming left, because there's obviously nothing down the left side and there's bunker down the right side. For me, that still felt like I was aiming left, even though I was actually aiming center. But yeah, I just gotta get used to it, and I've got to choose, like, be selective of the holes where I'm gonna do it, because there's no point just like ruining your swing by feeling so uncomfortable in the tee box. Yeah, you know, like I've been hitting a draw for so many years. It just feels uncomfortable. It's something that I have to work towards, but you know that when you feel uncomfortable, your body starts doing weird stuff. So it's better to choose holes where you can do it, and then that way you can trust it more. You can hit a better shot, you can hit better swings as well, which is obviously what we want. We don't want to be forcing something that feels uncomfortable, unless that feeling of uncomfortable is getting you into trouble, of course. But that's not what's happening with me. So yeah, I think you can kind of get what I'm saying here. Yeah, let's see what we got for the second shot. A little bit too far right there, but as you can see, if you hit it far enough, by far enough I mean like pin high, you're gonna carry that bunker on the right, so you don't really have any problems. The problem is when you try to go for the pin and you know you don't have the right club, then you're gonna end up, I mean, if you push it, you're gonna end up in this bunker, which is obviously not what we want. So like you can see, I started way too far right off where I wanted to go, but I'm still on the green, still putting. So that kind of goes in line with what I said before too, about how most people are on the club. Like if you look at this green, basically the only trouble is short right, and the pin, even though it looks kind of there, like there's no space, there is so much space past the pin. So obviously this is not going to happen for every single hole, but for a hole like this, how often will people go in here when the pin is here, when they could literally go any other direction and still have a pretty simple chip or even putt? So when you have a pretty long hole like that, like for me it was pretty long, it's 176, so it was a 5-iron. I think it's important to make sure that you're getting the right club for the distance that you want, because I mean, if you think that you're more comfortable with a club that's shorter, then maybe you want to go for the shorter club because there's water hazard down the left side. But you also need to make sure that whatever you hit, you're going to give yourself the best opportunity for the next shot, because hitting it too short and leaving yourself a 90-footer is not going to guarantee you a par. It's almost better for you to hit it over and have an uphill approach into the pin versus having to putt through like a whole bunch of slopes that's like 90-footer putt. Is going to be much easier for you if you're over the green and chipping uphill compared to having a 90-footer putt. Unless maybe you have the chipping yips or something that you don't think you can chip. But I mean, even from back here, you could easily putt off the green. But when you're in the front there and you have to go over this big slope and you've got a super long putt, I mean, I think the chances of you 3-putting is higher than the chances of you getting it up and down from the back of the green. But that's just my opinion. Obviously, it's going to depend on your game and how well you putt or chip. That was just a misread with the speed. I think I talked about 3-putting so much that it was in my head. But yeah, luckily I made the coming back putt. And you know what? Everybody's going to make mistakes like that somehow. I mean, sometimes you just forget to consider that it's actually pretty downhill. Like, I didn't think about how downhill it was. I was just thinking about the fact that it was like a 30-footer. So yeah, mistakes happen. I mean, And you know what? Sometimes you're going to make the coming back putt, sometimes you're going to miss it. Obviously, what we're trying to do is reduce the miss, but that's not always going to happen. All we can do is just try to hit the best putt that we can. And also, when you miss it, like for instance, after my first putt, when I miss it, pay attention to it. Don't like try to throw a tantrum and be like, oh, like throwing a putt or whatever. Actually look at the putt, because it's going to give you an idea of what the putt is going to do coming back, and that's going to help you make the coming back putt. One of the things I like to do when I'm in between distance, like at 150, so I could either hit the 155 carry or the 145 carry, but the problem is the pin's in front. So the 145 carry, if I missed it, there's a chance that I'm going to be chipping. Whereas the 155 one, I know that if I grip it down and just hit a half shot, I have a better chance of hitting the green, even if it's not close. The front pin in front, there's still a lot of green behind the pin as well. So yeah, just choosing the right club is so important. And I think most of the time people go for the shorter club and try to swing it as hard as they possibly can. But personally for me, I much prefer doing the opposite, which is taking a longer club and just hitting, gripping down, hitting a little punch shot. And most of the time that produces a better result for me. So this is one of those holes that you really just want to get it on the fairway. Doesn't really matter what you hit off the tee shot. It's not very long, it's like 360. It is uphill, but like it's not a very long hole. So yeah, I got this question once, which one of you guys asked me, how do you decide when to hit a 3-wood versus when to hit a driver? And I think one of the things to think about is what could happen. So like if you hit a driver, what's stopping you from hitting a driver? Maybe there's like a bunker that it's like within reach that you're like, if I hit a driver, the fairway is just going to be a little bit tighter, then go for the 3-wood. So if there's nothing out there, then I would say go for the driver. I mean, I think generally there are a few instances that you maybe don't want to hit a driver, but other than that, I mean, unless you're like really not confident with your driver and more confident with your 3-wood, then go for the 3-wood, because in my opinion and personally, I don't find that there's much difference between the distance on my 3-wood and my driver, especially if I hit them good. And sometimes even the 3-wood goes further because, for instance, if it's into the wind, obviously the driver is going to go a lot higher than the 3-wood. So yeah, it's all personal preference. It's what you feel comfortable with off the tee, what looks good to you, and what you think. Like, think about the reason why you don't want to hit a driver, or why you're thinking of hitting a 3-wood on a specific hole, and if it makes sense, then go for that. I think one thing to remember regarding putting is like today I'm missing a lot of putts. It's not like gimme putts, it's not like 6-footers that I'm quote unquote supposed to make, but they are like good birdie chances that I've missed quite a few. But you can tell that most of them, I mean, there's like maybe 1 or 2 that the speed was off, but it was just like green reading. So that's super important, especially to acknowledge like trends like that, because then I know that maybe I'm just not used to the grass, or I'm just not seeing the grain or something. But it's important to know that the putting stroke and the putt itself is a good putt. It's just not the right line. So when you know that, it's a lot easier for you to then work on something. So if I were to play a tournament here, I know I would have to work on my green reading, because I know that that's my weak point playing here. So yeah, it's very important to like notice things like that, so then that's how you can improve your score, and also you can work on what actually needs work. Nice mud hole, man. I think I need to have a little bit more conviction in my putts, like putting as if I have to make the putt, because it's funny how I can make par putts, but I can't make a birdie putt that's like the same distance or closer all day long. So I think I need to be more, maybe a change of mindset, more aggressive maybe, or like thinking like I have to make this putt. Yeah, let's see if that works, if that helps. So hit a bit too far left here in the rough. Not a bad place though, pretty good lie. Yeah, if anything, bunkers on the left. It's only like 220, I think. But it is a front pin, so we're gonna have to carry all the way there. I think somewhere where the small girl is walking around that angle would be a good place to go. So that second shot was in the rough. I kind of knew that I was gonna hit left, and it was a good play because I mean I can get it up and down from the bunker, but obviously if I hit it right, it's not gonna be in play anymore. So I also went with the 5-wood because I felt like there's no point really trying to hit a 3-wood out of that. It's not gonna get the height. So yeah, 5-wood, just aim it towards the bunker, and if it goes in bunker, we can still get it up and down from there.